Am I really loud?
Turn your microphone down, baby.
This is good.
Oh, Joe.
This the whole time.
Yes.
Do your little guy, tiny Joe voice. Yeah. Ready? You ready, Arthur? 1, 2, 3, 4.
The kids are counting sheep. When the kids go to sleep, dreams and memories. When the kids go to sleep.
That was good.
Thanks.
You've done best. But I always do that to the guy. I'm like,
You done
I'm
best?
like, sing with us. And he was right there on it.
He was.
That's what he does for a living, actually. So.
Is that the opposite of you done goofed?
You done good. You done good. You done goofed. Welcome to the podcast. Here we are at Maker Studios in Los Angeles, California. WTKGTS. When the kids go to sleep. And we have a new. Did I say that right? Was that acronym?
I think so. I was like,
did I
is that
throw
right?
some extra letters in there?
So New Kids on the Block?
Yeah. Well, they're at school. We lie to everybody. We tell them that they're asleep, but they're at
Yeah.
school. Baby Tart and Rock Tart could be sleeping right now. Cecily
True.
usually
So we're
sedates them heavily
We're
when
halfway
she
telling
watches
the
them.
truth.
Yeah. Well, we have another guest here on the podcast. That's the cool thing about doing this for so long is that we have some really, really talented friends that are willing to come and put up with us for 30 minutes and let us ask them questions.
I'm here for the money.
Poke them. Oh, Allie, I told you that's not in the budget. We can't afford Mystery Guitar Man.
I'm leaving.
That's it.
Fist face that your wife made you be here, right? Sarah's like, you're going to go be on that show.
But I don't want to go.
So I was, I just showed Joe this picture. Denise put it up on the screen. Here's a picture. This is the first time or an event that the very first place we ever
YouTube
met.
Live.
Was it
YouTube Live.
YouTube
In
Live?
San Francisco.
When was
crazy.
that? When was the date of that?
2008?
Was it 8? 2008?
Was it 7? That was a long time
It was.
ago.
It was a couple years ago. I mean,
like
it was
6, 7, 8 or something.
It was
like
the
that.
first time I met Akon too.
I know, really. And now he's like totally our best friend.
No, I've never seen Akon before. There was, I can't remember. He performed at that event, and he was
Katy
like,
Perry was there.
Katy Perry was there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, don't you remember
Yeah.
that?
I
What else?
totally forgot
Yeah,
about
Katy
it.
Perry
I remembered
was there.
Akon, but
Akon
not
was
Katy
there.
Perry.
So he's singing this part of the song. There was this classic moment. I got to look through back at my vlog footage, but he's singing this song about like, you know, I love you, girl, or something. And there's all these girls, and I had my flip cam, and I had gone up like right to the stage, and I like had put my hand up, and he, you know, there's all these hands, and Akon grabs my hand, right?
Yeah.
And he
And I-
was like,
and I'm
he
like-
lingered.
Yeah, no, he was like
He
holding my
lingered.
hand. I think he probably thought it was like some like hot girl or something.
And then he looked down.
And he looks down, he sees this big barrel-chested, burly, bearded man, and then I'm like, hi, Akon. And I'm filming him, and I think he's like, oh, why am I holding your hand?
I can just imagine him like singing and then and looks down and be
He
like,
did. That was just his reaction too.
Right.
He pulled his hand away, like, "Oh, that wasn't
Weirdo.
what I was going for." Anyways,
hilarious.
this picture. Look how
It's
young you
hilarious.
look, Joe.
Yeah. It's the beard. If I shave
Yeah.
the beard, I look just like you, very baby faced.
Very baby. I am a baby face now, but yeah, this is 4 years ago.
I
There's
like it.
Dax Flame, Philly D, Mystery Guitar Man, and Charles Trippy. And we got
Flame.
a lot
So
of other
crazy.
pictures. I'm glad we got a ton of cool pictures from that time. So you've been around the YouTubes for a while, man.
Long time, almost 6 years now.
6 years.
Wow.
It's next week is my YouTube-versary.
Is it really?
Really?
What is the date?
It's like June 20 something.
Do you feel like
June
you've
16th.
Do you feel like you've told your YouTube story a million times, like how you
a couple times, yeah, and it's changing as I go.
Right,
So,
for sure.
Because I think you kind of remember things like, oh yeah, no, this is how I did it. Because you know when you start to do these interviews, like the Partners Project, you know, like those kind of like with Cheryl Lazar and stuff, you know, you start to tell your YouTube story, and then it becomes like. It's just like any story. It's like, did that really happen, or is that just how I'm like telling that story? It's like that's become a story. So, what was your very, very, very first time on YouTube? Do you remember?
yeah. I used to be on these forums back in the day, and they would link you to videos, like just funny videos, you know, like things that happened in the news, and they were like tiny, gross videos that played in like Real Player with like.
And it took forever for him to load.
Forever to load. I'm like, why does this horrible video? And then someone linked to a YouTube video. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I hate the name of the website, YouTube. Like, it's never
Yeah.
going to work out. But this is,
It's never
is
going to
cool.
work out.
Yeah. It's like Flash, you know, you don't have to download it and you don't have to play it in Windows Media Player. And yeah, that was way before anybody was uploading original content to
Right.
YouTube. So then we started, I stayed on the side for a little bit, and I accidentally added it to my bookmarks. See, then again, I don't know if I did that or not.
Right, yeah. It's like, did you mean to do that? Or like, how did that become right?
Yeah. But then I went back to it later, and then on the front page, I saw just some people vlogging. And I was like, what is this? Like, they're just talking to a camera for 20 minutes in black and white about their favorite movie? I can do better than that.
Right.
So
you can make something. Yeah.
I could, yeah. I could learn this. So I like dug up this old like webcam of mine, and I started vlogging. I started, talking about my favorite stuff. I had a couple other channels before Mystery Guitarman. And then, I finally started Mystery Guitarman, and I was like, all right. Because everyone else was doing characters at the time. They had Little Loca.
Yep.
They had Renetto. People really like, is this lonely girl person real?
Is she real?
Yeah. I remember it was a huge thing back then. Yeah. So I was like, I gotta get a character. It was like 3:00 in the morning. The only reason why I know that is because I looked through my sign-in emails. Like, thanks for signing up for YouTube.
And you still have that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
3:07.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I have every single email YouTube has ever emailed me.
Serious.
So like millions of emails.
I'm sure even in when I first started, it was a Hotmail. I'm sure when I got that first email that said, congratulations, you're a YouTube partner. I remember that day. I was like, oh, honey, we got accepted. It was so exciting. And I would never delete those emails because that email changed my life.
I remember I put a star next to it. It was like the first email I ever starred. I was like, hey, we want to invite you to this pilot program called the YouTube Partnership. I'm like, I want to be a partner. I've heard about those in law.
So wait a minute. Were you a partner when they were paying like a salary and not per view?
No, that was just like the first 10 people.
That was
that was Phil. That was
I know Zipster08.
Zipster. Oh, yeah.
Remember Zipster, dude?
Yeah.
He's still around. I don't know who, but they were paying people like a salary. I don't know what it was. It was like a certain.
I think it was different per person,
right?
Depending on how many views they were getting. And then I was on the second round of people, like the top. That was like from 20 to 30.
Right.
Venetian Princess was in that first couple.
She's amazing.
And so I got
so
paid per view. So I never got a good salary from YouTube.
Well, I think back in the day it was like they just wanted to get people on there creating content, and there wasn't a way to because there's no model for it. Like, how much would we know to pay them for each view or whatever? So I think it was like, well, you get a salary, and I don't know what the stipulations were, if you had to upload a certain amount of videos, per month or whatever. But I remember, when I first got on, I saw, Phil and Dax Flame, that guy right there in the picture. He was my first subscription, and that was the same thing. I'm like, is this a character?
So mysterious.
Because there's all those comments that people were like, no, this is really how he is, and I'm a psychologist, and I'm like, whoa, there's like a lot of attention being drawn around this person. And then I found Phil, and like he had this little intro, remember that? And he had like picked up his phone, in this little intro that he had. I'm like,
with like iMovie music.
Yep. Well, you guys have heard that before?
A few times.
And so I remember seeing that. I'm like, whoa, these guys have like an audience of people who are watching. And then I remember feeling the same way. I'm like, I could do that. Like, I'm a guy that likes to talk and say words.
I was the opposite. I hated talking. I've always hated talking. I've always hated like talking to people. But in college,
Joe hates people. So
I hate
when you meet him, just know that there's this burning hatred that he has.
He just hates your guts. So when did you realize that you wanted to do music? Because you started out just talking to the camera, right?
Right. I didn't have any like music recording stuff. I've been doing music at church for a long time. I'd been playing guitar and things like that, and learning how to play the drums. And I had to learn how to play guitar because my dad's a pastor. So we didn't have a big church. It was a Brazilian church, all Brazilian, and the guy who was playing guitar went to Brazil, and I was playing the drums at the time. So my dad was like, "You need to learn.
Can you play the guitar and the drums?
You have to learn this.
Then you became like that guy in Mary Poppins who had like. What was that? He had like all those instruments on him. He's like, he's playing all that. Yeah. And that's what Joe did. He played in a church like the guy in Mary Poppins. And he had
exactly.
And now look where he is today.
Yeah, exactly.
So you start playing the guitar out of necessity.
Out of necessity, because you can't just play the drums and lead a bunch of people singing at church.
Right, yeah.
So,
good thing.
Yeah, so I learned how to play the guitar then. So I slowly, I think my first music video was actually Guitar Impossible. Which
I remember that blew you up, dude.
Yeah,
that blew you up. You were like, I remember Naltz has referred to you as like the Phoenix on YouTube because you were like, you like reinvented yourself. Like once that you brought that video out,
for a long time,
because you were there. People might have heard the song "Sexy Phil." He's not sexy, sexy Phil. He's as sexy. This guy right here made that. That was you. Well, tell me about that song, because that when I first found Phil, well, I guess that was that iMusic when I first found Phil. But then that song was like iconic, I think, for Phil and just for the first YouTubers that were getting on the site and starting at the time. Oh, how embarrassing! I'm getting a call from Idaho.
Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna silent my phone.
From Ide.
From Ide, yeah, shortened it. But that was a huge song. And then, so what happened? So then, you were like, we had met, and then you stopped doing YouTube for a while, or
I was on Stickum for a while. Remember that site where like you know
do
it was
live
like
shows.
a bunch of, it was like Second Life but with webcams, I guess. Or I guess like Google Hangouts, where a bunch of people hang out at the same time. I think it's still around actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What today, Derek is. He's the king of Stickum.
Oh yeah, you're right. He was on Stickum that day. You're right. So basically, I was on Stickum all the time, and I went to different rooms, and Phil was in a bunch of those rooms. He would host sometimes. Mm-hmm. I would never host because I don't like talking to people. So
remember, he hates you.
Burning hatred inside. No, but so I was on Stickum, and sometimes I would just pick up the guitar and start playing around because there'd be moments of just boredom where a bunch of people was sitting around bored.
Yeah, it's like, I got to do something. What do I do? What do I do? Here's a guitar.
Yeah. And Phil at the time was talking about how everyone was saying his name is Sexy Phil, and whenever he would go into a room, he's like, I hate it. It's SXE. It's not sexy.
Yeah.
So I just picked up a guitar and I started playing the song, and I wrote like this whole like 2 chorus thing, two verse and a chorus thing for him.
Yeah.
And he just ended up using the little intro
chorus for the intro. Yeah, that's so funny. That brings back so many memories.
Yeah.
I know.
I started charging for theme songs, like $20 for a theme song.
Because you made one for Naltz.
I made one for Naltz. Charles Strippy had one.
Yeah,
a bunch of people.
You're like the early TERABRITE.
Exactly. Except less talented.
Right. They are. They are, man. They did our intro for this. That was them.
That was them?
Yeah, singing.
Oh, that's awesome.
When the kids are can. Anyways. Yeah. So then he came out with Guitar Impossible, which I remember was like, whoa. And then they featured it on the front page of YouTube.
Yeah. I had a couple of the featured videos on the front page of YouTube, but it was like way earlier when it didn't really mean that much. But that video, for some reason, really picked up. Like MSN
it got passed
picked
around.
it up, CNN picked it up, a bunch of people, and I freaked out. I was like, "What do I do now?"
I gotta do something.
There's a lot of expectations. What are there? Yeah, it's like because then you have to, you're expected to like top yourself. Like, okay, what can you do now, Mystery Guitar Man? What's the next mystery you got for us?
I spent 3 days doing that video. Not that long shooting it, but I'm like, let's do the opposite. Let's like shoot a video for 3 days or something. So I did this video where I started it at like 9 o'clock in the morning and I finished it at like 12 at night, where the sun is going down behind me and I'm taking a picture every 30 seconds. Basically rigged up my camera to my laptop and I rigged up my spacebar to take a picture. So I would go like with my feet and take a picture for the next one and cross it out, wait 30 seconds, take a picture of my feet, cross it out, wait 30 seconds. So.
Wow.
You did it all day long?
All day long, yeah.
That's the thing.
That's so cool.
Freezing.
That's the thing about your videos, and I'm sure you know this better than anybody, but I don't think, and maybe some people do, but I think a majority of your viewers don't understand the time.
Oh, there's so much
and
work.
patience and little intricate, detailed work and just technology wisdom that you have in all of your videos. Like, you're one just recently in Barcelona where you guys are, you see all those shadows and people are moving in the background.
And you're doing stop motion.
And how did that? I don't think people realize how hard that is.
The people in the background weren't stop motion. It was just you two.
Just us two.
And
and we didn't have a tripod at the time, so we were like, I guess let's shoot this. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether it was gonna work out. But I'm glad that I started the behind the scenes that I'm doing now.
That shows
that shows everything, because people comment all the time are like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's how you do that?
I think it makes people appreciate the video more once they realize how you made
much work.
and that you do that yourself. There's not a major, because a lot of, I think us as people get desensitized to entertainment because you see so much of it. There's so much but to realize that you're doing this all by yourself is a giant feat, and it takes a lot of time and effort.
I saw a kid doing this video. The kid was like 18 years old. He was doing this video where he modeled the Transformers himself. And he modeled Megatron and Optimus Prime, and they were having a fight, and I was like, this is amazing for one kid doing it by himself. And I scroll down, and the red bar is huge. The dislike bar is huge, and people are saying like, this is nowhere as good as the movies. I'm like,
what?
It's a kid in his basement making this by himself.
Yeah, this is amazing. Like, people don't realize because they get desensitized to really.
Exactly. Yeah, because they see so much content being created, and that's why I feel like just the level of content will raise dramatically because of people like you, because of people like that kid who can do so much all by himself. Once they're given the right tools and a strong team, like just the, you know what I'm saying, like the ability to create amazing things is just going to get bigger and bigger with that talent, that these people are developing. So going more along with Joe's inner hatred for everybody, that's a total lie. I'm just teasing him. You do, surprisingly more with your audience than I think a lot of YouTubers do. Like,
it's fun
when you do collabs, like this last video. Show the video, Denise, with all the pictures. How many people were involved in that video?
There are 847 people in the actual video, but a lot more sent in pictures, and we had to, a lot of them were like not high resolution enough, or so
you had to pick, because I noticed that all those pictures
one.
like right in the middle of the screen. Did you? How did you explain that to those 800 people? Did you have like, okay, guys, this is exactly how I need you to hold it, and
did you send them pictures, or was that all like
they printed them off?
They printed them off. Yeah, I had a website where it would automatically pick a random image and then show them that image, and then once I got like 4 or 5 in, I would delete that image so that they wouldn't redo that.
They can't see that
one. A bunch of times. Yeah, so on the actual page that I had them print out, because I knew that people were going to hold it a little closer, a little farther away, I put like 4 little tracking marks.
Cool.
So that's why I picked mostly high resolution image, so I can zoom it in and zoom it out. So basically, once you tell the program, like, don't move these 4 things, the program is like, okay, so like I will move the images to make sure that stays in the same place. Otherwise, it's going to be jumping all over the place.
Yeah, because, the people in the background are all moving, but that image has to stay stable so that you can see the action of you. And was that drawn, or that was you filmed? I saw you film that, but it looked like it was
I didn't want people having to print out too much stuff, especially people with like
always thinking. Don't want to waste any ink.
Yeah, exactly.
Or paper, save a tree.
I put like a Photoshop effect on it. It's called I forget what it's called, but it makes like the comic effect, like little dots on it, so you don't have to print out as much. Yeah, pixelated.
Yeah. Right. Amazing. And then another one you did, which I was totally flabbergasted at, is where is it? Where you did you had a bunch of kids with their musical instruments.
Yeah.
Kids that played in band or just had musical. Where is that video?
And play certain notes.
It's a while back.
So my question is, how do you come up with these ideas? Are you just like laying awake at night, like, oh, I've got an idea, or is it? Do you stress about it before you come up?
Well, before I was doing the behind the scenes and I was doing BAMO stuff, I would usually come up with the ideas like the Tuesday before I put up a video, and then on Wednesday I would produce it, and then on Thursday I would put it up, or like just come up with the idea on Wednesday morning.
That's so fast.
Yeah, or and then I was doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I was about to die.
Right.
So,
I was gonna say.
So I changed it to once a week, and I kind of upped the level of, I made from making 1 minute long videos to 1 minute 30 videos. So, I've wanted to bring up the quality of stuff, to prove that I can do bigger quality stuff. Yeah.
So do you have a team that works around you then to help you like do all the editing and stuff now, or?
Yeah, I have an editor that helps me out. He does all the rough cuts and helps me with the composition stuff, and I have a guy doing all the behind the scenes stuff. It's always just following us around. But yeah, the editor Grayson, he's really helped me out. Yeah, because then I can be doing the music while he's doing the edit, and then we switch. You
just do each other's. Yeah. So has that been like? How long have you been working with him now?
About a year.
So have you guys kind of formed a cool relationship where it's like he knows?
At first, he would come in and I would like just say watch, and I would edit. He's like, why are you doing that? I was like, no, that's not how you do it. I'm like,
this is how this is how I do it.
This is how I do it. Yeah.
Yep.
And then I'd be like, all right, so you can edit the first 30 seconds of this, and I would watch. I'm like, no, do this, because I was really nitpicky about the way that I was doing it. But more and more I've come to trust him, and he helps me out with like coming up with ideas now.
Because now, he probably understands how you like to do things, and you have a special way to do it. And I think that's been cool, even with us, working with people, over the last, working with Brett and stuff. He, when I finally handed that camera over to Brett to edit our vlogs, that was tough.
So hard.
It was like, okay, man, do a good job.
This is my baby.
I know, it really felt like that. And because we have known Brett for so long, he just knows what I would have left in and those kind of things. So that's cool.
Christian helped me out too. Christian's my personal assistant, executive assistant, I guess is the correct terminology. He helps me with stuff like, just like go walk Eddie, because we're going to be editing this.
You're
for
so busy.
Yeah.
Hours and hours. Isn't it weird to think that we have people like that to help us now?
Yeah.
Back in the day, you'd be like, what? You have an editor to edit your videos?
You're
like,
so lame.
You're not a real YouTuber. You know what I mean? Because it's just the level of competition is raised, so you have to keep up, and so you can't do it by yourself anymore.
Right. It's kind of like how things changed from music changed from in the 60s or so, where singer-songwriters became big things. Because before that, you had like Frank Sinatra singing other people's songs.
Right.
It's like, oh, you didn't write your own song? No, I'm Frank Sinatra. I'm a singer. I'm not a writer. So you used to have like big writers and big singers, and then it changed into like being singer-songwriters, and now it's changing back again to like people singing other people just singing, people just doing stuff.
So true.
Same with YouTube.
One of the videos, one of my favorite videos that you did with Rhett and Link was the shirt video. And that's another cool thing about Joe is like every video you make, you like have like a little, when you did those all mini Joes, you send out to your audience. Like you send all those little props or whatever out to people who watch his videos. So this one he did with Rhett and Link, talk about that, where these shirts, they're pulling off these shirts, and it's this whole like story that's happening as you, and I loved all the sound effects in that video. And that later turned into a McDonald's commercial. How did they approach you? Like, how did that happen?
Well, the original video was fun to do because they came up to me and they're like, so we're working with this t-shirt company. They can print off a bunch of t-shirts. So I was like, how many can they print off? They're like, they said they can print off 1,000. I'm like, great, have them print 1,000 shirts. And they were like, how can we do this? I'm like, well, a bunch of t-shirts probably have to be some kind of stop motion, And they're like, oh, but we want to be in the video. And I'm like, okay, so we need t-shirts and they want to be in the video. Okay, so we'll do like stop motion acting. So I shot a bunch of tests, of me like trying to pull off a t-shirt, and then there's another one underneath. And then all of a sudden I tried like ripping them in like specific ways, and I tried a bunch of things. So I sent them all these tests, and they're like, yeah, that's cool stuff. And then they hired this guy called, his YouTube name is Very Tasteful.
Oh, yeah.
Bailey Reed.
Yep. He
He does a lot of songs, and he's an awesome drawer. So animator, I guess. So he animated this stuff, like the fire and stuff. We worked together.
All those. And so, so he drew those all, and then sent them to the shirt company and said, print these on the shirt.
Yeah. And the shirt company was like, all right.
It's a lot of work. Because they're all different.
Yeah,
all the shirts they're all different. I mean, so that's a lot of work, because those are all different screens, right?
Yeah. Because that's what they said. They were like, when we said 1,000 shirts, we meant
like one
1,000 of the
design.
same.
Yeah.
Like have 1,000 people in one video.
Yeah. Right.
They're like, oh, sorry, that's what we got to do. So we made the video, and we wrote about the length, but we grossly underestimated. Wait, too many syllables. Anyways, we underestimated the amount of work that had to be done. So I spent like 6 months editing that thing,
Wow.
And I shot it all on RAW on the camera, so it was way too much stuff. My computer was barely handling it. But afterwards, it was really cool because they added all the different sounds, like the and stuff
and all that. That's so cool.
Yeah, so it turned out to be an awesome video.
So explain, I guess, how you ended up doing it. Like, it was like just pictures, right? You they would do it, then they would take the shirt off and put on a different one, and you just kept.
We had Rhett and Link shoot a test video, so basically of them just acting and like doing this and going over and like pulling on the t-shirts and doing the actual thing on video, so that we know the movements, So I would say something like, all right, so in 10 pictures, you're going to go from here to here. So let's call that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, that kind of thing. Oops. And, you know, we'd go 1, 2, and take the shirt off, put the shirt back on. 3, you know, and like it would take forever, you know. Right. So and we had like racks and racks of T-shirts that were.
One thing that I don't.
So cool.
Another thing that as I was watching the behind the scenes of your videos is that requires a lot of imagination because you have to imagine things that aren't there while you're acting them out. Like even in the latest one where. You're like in a Tetris world and these Tetris blocks are falling and you have to climb on these. That's real stuff that's practical things that you're doing. He's really acting those things out. But if you watch the behind the scenes, it's on a green screen and he's like standing on a table and then he has to pretend that these things are coming down that aren't really there, which takes a lot of imagination. And you probably wouldn't call yourself an actor, but it takes a lot of acting to be able, to act like all this stuff is happening around you when nothing is. Yeah. And then you add that all later in post.
I go for the overacting, but
but you need to do. I feel like you need to be able to see that,
especially in stop motion because it's such like precise movements that you have to do. So I know exactly how to punch someone in stop motion, because it's like first you do this and then this because you end up watching a lot of footage in slow motion to figure out like what exactly you're doing.
Yeah, you'd be easy to beat up in a fight probbly because
you're just really slow.
It's just like just you wait.
Here it comes.
My fist is coming for you.
That's awesome.
So you're an amazing editor, actor, musician, and best kisser I've ever kissed.
Married to Sarah.
Let's go to So talk to us about your lovely bride, which
we should show link to the podcast that we did with her. So
Sarah was on our podcast earlier, and the wedding. Is there a wedding video?
There's a wedding.
There's a wedding, like when he proposed to his, which was epic. And I think you started a trend with that kind of. Yeah. It seemed like a lot of other people started doing wedding proposal videos in that style after you proposed. Joe had this.
A couple other people had the movie theater proposal idea.
Yep. You did it the best, obviously.
Yes, obviously.
He did this whole thing where he rented out a movie theater and made a movie that was a preview to the movie that they were going to see to propose to his fiancée or his girlfriend. Cool. Yeah. And it was awesome. So
it was fun.
What's it like being married to a woman like Sarah who wants to conquer the world?
Is she your manager?
She is.
Okay.
Yeah,
how does that work? I have to ask.
Well, at first, actually, when I was shooting that, the McDonald's commercial that was the spin-off of the T-shirt commercial in North Carolina, there was a company that approached us, and they were like, so let's work together. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of a shoot. They're like, oh, pass this on to your manager. I'm like, okay, I'll pass you on to my people. I hang up the phone. I'm like, I don't have people.
I need some people.
I don't have a manager. And at the time, Sarah and I were dating. She was working for Philip DeFranco, and we were dating. And I was like, oh, well, you work for Phil, right? You're his manager, right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, can you do this one thing? Or maybe she had just stopped working for Phil. I don't remember exactly. But like, can you do this one?
Like contact these people for me.
Yeah. Like I know that we're dating and like this might be a little weird. You hear about people working together and relationships not working out. Like just try this one thing. And just help me out here.
I need you.
I need your help. And she's like, yeah, of course. So she goes and does this thing. So. Usually, that people pay you to be in your videos, to do something, to have your products in the videos. Right. And I was used to a certain amount, like say $1 per video. And
a brand deal. He got a certain amount per video, and so she probably came back and like doubled.
She came back and more than 10 times did.
Wow.
It was like crazy. And I was like,
Can you be my manager?
So then he said, will you marry me right then?
I was like, let me go produce a quick little movie theater proposal thing.
I'll be right back.
So she did amazing. And I was like, oh, that was great. Awesome job. Like, we still working with this company today. And I'm like, that kind of worked out, didn't it? And she was like, yeah, that kind of did. I was like, if this doesn't work out at all, at any time, that'll be fine, but do you want to try to do this next one that this company is approaching me with? I like the product, I like what they're doing. but you're so much better at talking to brands and talking to people, and it's kind of tough to sell yourself, isn't it? It's like, yeah, well, I'm great. You should definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's hard to be the bad
me.
guy and the talent because
Exactly.
you need a middleman. You need somebody that says, no, he's not going to do that unless you do this, because you want to be the good guy. So you kind of need that person who can be the bad guy or whatever, who can say no or whatever.
Yeah. So if like a company's coming to you, it's like, oh, we have this product, this cup product, and you need to shoot a video like this and this and this and that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Sarah, tell them not to do it.
Yeah. I don't want to do it like that.
Yeah, exactly. So you need a manager, you know. So, and she started doing an amazing job. She started repping other people like Daystorm and other people like that. And it just worked out because she knows what I want. You know, so sometimes she comes up to me. She's like, hey, this company wants to work with you. I'm like, I don't really like that company. She's like, good. I already said no.
Good. She knows you.
Good. I already said no. Good thing you didn't want to work with them.
Are we getting the rap
That's crazy.
sign? Oh my!
Wait, I have to
so
ask
Go
a
ahead.
question.
Go
Are
ahead.
there going to be any mystery guitar babies?
Yes, there will be. And
I can't wait.
If it was, and for me, it'd be 9 months from today.
Right.
But no, we want to wait around. We want to travel a little bit more. We're doing a lot of traveling and that kind of stuff. But yeah, there'll be plenty of mystery guitar babies. Don't worry.
So he said they're gonna do the same thing as us. So you had planned on staying in California for a while then?
Yeah, probably.
They said they're gonna downsize, move into an apartment to save money to buy a house. That's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to save money because it's expensive here in California.
Yeah.
Really expensive.
Do you like it here?
It's a little
Because you're from
crazy.
Brazil. Joe's from Brazil. He
yeah.
speaks Portuguese, Spanish. He's multilingual, multi-talented, and you were from Boston before you moved
From
here,
Boston,
right?
yeah. And Boston's great. Massachusetts great. But I can't live in that weather. I'm Brazilian,
Yeah.
you know. I'm warm-blooded, and I was so happy when I moved here, and people were like, "Oh, you're gonna get sick of it. Like, you better move to San Francisco or something." They
Right.
actually have seasons. I'm like, no, that's the reason why I'm here. It's because of the lack of seasons.
You like the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is great. It's hard to complain with 70 and sunny most days.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Sometimes I walk outside, I'm like, it's this nice again?
It
Okay.
can't be.
It's
Well, good
December and you have
friend.
shorts on.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm always wearing flip flops. Good friend Joe, Mr. Guitar Man. We've been friends for a long time. We went to his wedding. I remember dancing through the night at
And
your
the
wedding.
yellow flowers.
The flowers were
The
amazing.
most beautiful
beautiful.
wedding you will ever go to.
It was.
Yes.
I mean,
Sorry.
that's why
It
I've
was.
refused to go to any weddings up to this point.
It just won't match up.
You
It
might
was.
as well not go to weddings anymore.
I know. I don't even believe in weddings because after I went to yours, it was like that's the coup de grace of weddings.
The coup de grace.
I don't know what that means,
I don't know
but
what
I
that
think
means
it might have
either,
fit in
but
that
you
situation.
gonna have to
sounded
look
cool
that up
saying
later.
it.
Yeah, check it out on the WWs. All right, you
Thanks
guys,
for coming.
check him out. You probably know who he is already, Mystery Guitar Man.
If you don't, you should.
He's a creator of amazing content on this little website that will never make it called youtube.com. And he's created a lot of cool projects. And you should check him out if you haven't already. And we need to do a collab. I sent you an idea for this collab. We need to do a video idea.
We need to do that.
We will. Well, it's
do
just,
Sarah, I don't want to do that. Tell me I don't want to.
No, Sarah said she's going to make you do it if you don't want it. Anyways, check him out online. We'll put all the links below. Mr. Guitar Man, thanks for being on our podcast today, bro.
Thank you.
From Los Angeles, California at Maker Studios.
When the kids go to sleep, dreams and
Yeah.
Memories. Hit it, girl.
when the kids go to sleep.
See us at VidCon.
Bye.
That'd be fun, huh? VidCon.
Fun.
Woo, that's a wrap.